Shadows creeping heavy on the bedroom floor. I can't find the strength to open up the door. SP 1200 crunching down a 12-bit sound while my remaining sanity is slipping underground. Deep minor chords spinning on the vinyl platter. Watching every dream I ever built start to shatter. No commercial polish inside this lonely vault. This heavy mental prison is entirely my fault. Loose hats dragging with an unquantized swing. Fighting off the panic that the dark hours bring. Warm bass thumping low against the concrete stone. Facing the exhaustion in the laboratory alone.
Eclipse, the heavy blackness suffocates the light.
Navigating agony in the middle of the night.
No pops and no glossy hooks within the stream.
Just the raw reality of a broken dream. Sitting in the quiet with a cold cup of brew, wondering how to make it till the day is new. Tape saturation running hot across the tape. There is no easy portal for a clean escape. The sharp snare cracks like a bone in the freeze, bringing all my structural ambition to its knees. They offer quick fixes on the social media feed, but generic wellness trends are not what I need. Sparse arrangements mirroring the void in my chest. A tired human being who forgot how to rest. I route the anxious energy directly to the pad, writing down the heaviest depression I have had.
Eclipse, the heavy blackness suffocates the light.
Navigating agony in the middle of the night.
No pops and no glossy hooks within the stream.
Just the raw reality of a broken dream. Just the raw reality. The broken, the internal reservoir is completely out of juice, letting the remaining threads of composure loose. Two-note bassline dragging like a heavy flat tire, suffocating silently and losing the desire. No cinematic strings to fabricate a false cure, just keeping the unvarnished street struggle pure. The ink dries slow on the yellow paper sheet, marking my surrender to the rhythm of the beat.
Eclipse, the heavy blackness suffocates the light.
Navigating agony in the middle of the night.
No pops and no glossy hooks within the stream.
Just the raw reality of a broken dream. Just the raw reality of a broken dream. Staring at the dust mote suspended in the cold air, feeling the internal framework split. Trying to find a single cohesive thread in the mind that is starting to completely quit. The 90 BPM rhythm drags like a heavy lead weight pulled across a shattered concrete floor. As I stand completely paralyzed outside the entrance of another long, exhausting mental war. Every minimal loops repeating on the 3-second wheel over and over inside the darkened room, providing the raw acoustic background texture for this thick, suffocating layers of urban gloom. No glossy commercial mastering choices permitted to dilute the heavy gravity of the mental ache, exposing every single hidden hairline fracture that the chronic daily stresses constantly make. The punchy kick drum lands with the dull throbbing impact right behind my swollen, sleepless eyes, stripping away the final comfort and illusions of the day like superficial and performative lies. A narrow stereo image clamps down tightly on the mix, making the walls feel like they're closing in. Wondering if the persistent static in my nervous system will ever let the quiet clarity begin. Sparse instrumentation reflects the absolute unvarnished bankruptcy of my remaining emotional fuel, subjected to a quiet internal disintegration that feels incredibly systematic, calculating and cool. The crisp wooden snare snap punches clean through the stagnant air like a sudden breaking lock, perfectly aligned with the cold unfeeling progression of the master studio hardware clock. They talk about standard coping mechanisms and track the superficial wellness trends on a screen, while I am slowly turning into a completely hollowed out, isolated and forgotten machine. I route the anxious vibrations directly onto the white surface of an unlined cardboard storage box, locking myself deep inside this subterranean laboratory behind a row of heavy iron deadbolt locks. We preserve the jagged, unpolished edges of the audio track, letting the analog sample lines bleed, delivering the raw substance of a human struggle, completely detached from what the executives need. 24 bars of clinical psychological data points laid out flat across the freezing winter ground, sinking my heels deep into the protective embrace of this uncompromising raw underground sound.
Fracture, the ancient and the internal architecture splits wide open from the strain. Endless, repetitive spiral navigating the claustrophobic brain. No comforting harmonies, no glossy deferred coding applied to the master real. Just the bone dry repetition of a soul forced and reinforced hardware still. The crew is Nazi, aggressively sparse and freezing cold in the mix, surviving the heavy agony far away from cheap production hook.
Yeah. The second wave descends without warning, dropping like an iron curtain over the remaining light, leaving me to wander blindly through the freezing parameters of another long unlit midnight night. I sit completely motionless in the dark, watching the red peak indicators flicker on the vintage board, expressing the suffocating weight of chronic depression with a single blunt and unpolished word. The simple root note bass line rumbles low beneath the muffled low pass filtered horn loop phrase, tracing the slow agonizing trajectory of a human life lost inside an infinite cyclical maze. No dramatic orchestral elemental cinematic rising tones allowed to fabricate an artificial distress, just the naked undeniable documentation of a mind completely collapsing under the unaddressed stress. I adjust the input gain switches manually, trying to stabilize the heavy trembling deep inside my chest, confronting the terrifying realization that my conscious mind has completely forgotten how to rest. Every single syllable is carved into the dark slate with the frantic hand of a desperate survivor crew, separating the raw reality of the basement from the hollow promises of the mainstream interview. The tape saturation runs hot, capturing the intense internal friction burning through the neural net, recording a grim historical testimony that the commercial industry algorithms would prefer to forget. They spend their operational capital chasing fleeting digital metrics and validation milestones online, while I am quiet, the archivage of my composure inside this independent blueprint design of mine, the structural masonry of my confidence. Staring down the barrel of a blank wall, watching the internal foundation slide, locking up the heavy secrets that I desperately and constantly tried to hide. The SP-12 on the drum machine spits a cold low fidelity 12-bit winter freeze, bringing the remaining remnants of my cognitive resilience directly to its knees. A psychedelic funk loop repeats its modeling weary minor key chord phrase, guiding my heavy footsteps through a thick, completely uninspired creative haze. No shallow commercial optimism permitted to bypass the perimeter filter guard. When the simple act of waking up in the morning feels aggressively and brutally hard. Loose hi-hats drifting way off the grid, mirroring the irregular beat of a stressed heart, as the structural integrity of my daily routine begins to completely fracture and pull apart. The tape saturation runs red hot, catching the friction burning deep inside my skull, trying to find an artistic edge when the surrounding environment is completely gray and dull. No warm bass drops heavy, following the simple root notes down to the cold floor, like an exhausted broken soldier giving up his weapon in a silent psychological war. I adjust the input faders manually, trying to master unmistakable shaking of my hands, sinking deeper into the dark, suffocating quicksand of a world I no longer understand. They post their artificial highlights online, celebrating their superficial daily wins, while my internal narrative is trapped in the loop, wondering where the breakdown begins. The arrangement stays sparse, leaving a massive void echoing directly within my chest. A stark, unpolished presentation of a human being who has entirely forgotten how to rest. We record the symptoms on a raw magnetic tape track, letting the low frequencies clip, watching the final remaining pieces of my carefully constructed composition slowly slip. 24 bars of a filtered mental diagnostic data laid completely flat on the street, pouring out the absolute density of my psychological burdens right across the swing beat. Collapse! The internal pillars crumble from the insidious weight, trapped inside the claustrophobic borders of a broken system state. No glossy mastering touches, no polished pops riding on the air, just a bone dry texture of an absolute and unyielding despair. The SP12 undergroove is in my naked, rhythmically clothed and raw in the mix, surviving the agony without the assistance of cheap tracks and tracks. The second wave hits harder, a sudden heavy blackness suffocating the visual field, realizing that the psychological wounds I carry might never be fully closed or healed. I sit entirely motionless in the dim studio light, staring at the old analog mixing board, translating the chronic ache of depression with a single unpolished tracking word. The sharp snare cuts through the thick vinyl dust like a rusty meat cleaver blade, exposing the terrifying depth of the emotional valleys where my thoughts have stayed. They offer empty platitudes on the network, tracking their superficial wellness trends, while I am pacing the dark perimeter of the laboratory, wondering where the spiral ends. No cinematic string arrangement, so epitopes is the elements permitted inside this space. Just a cold reality of a major depressive episode etched deep into an unwashed face. I root the anxious energy directly through the copper wiring of the patch bay rack, securing the raw testimony of my suffering on the tape without ever looking back. Every single line written on the yellow legal notepad feels like a heavy iron anchor chain, confining the direction of my verses to the claustrophobic chambers of a damaged brain. We don't provide a comfortable listening experience or a radio-friendly commercial play, just a meticulous documentation of the soul slowly melting inside the hardware face. The low-pass filter clamps down tightly, dampening the high frequencies of the loop, isolating my perspective entirely from the casual interactions of the social group. The structural masonry is cracked but from decades of unaddressed internal hurt, leaving me to watch my remaining professional ambitions dissolve into the floor dirt. I clench my jawline tightly into the bone aches, letting the amplifier hits run entirely free. The most authentic chronicle of the human breakdown, let the simulation whatever see. No artificial tensionizers or cheap audio transitions used to fabricate the stage. Sudden tightening around the throat, stepping into the jagged maze of anxiety, severing the final fragile threads holding me to a functional society. The 90 BPM drum loop punches through the dust with the unquantized with the limp, while the internal panic holds my lungs in the cold, unyielding iron clamp. Minimal soul chops truncated, tight looping on a narrow stereo plane. An accurate sonic transcription of the static burning inside a weary brain. No shiny commercial vocal sheen or studio polish allowed to shield the raw nerve. Just watching the trajectory of my composure take a terrifying downward curve. The punchy kick drum lands like an unexpected blow to a bruised rib cage, as I try to document the heavy symptoms of this internal war on a blank page. Eerie minor key textures repeated endlessly without an escape hatch or door, leaving me to trace the crooked patterns carved directly into the hardwood floor. A crisp wooden snare snap breaks the silence like a branch in the winter freeze, bringing the remaining architecture of my confidence completely to its knees. We operate far away from the synthetic comfort of the mainstream radio light, drowning silently inside at the claustrophobic borders of a freezing midnight night. Anxiety, the overwhelming tension grips the entire cognitive core, leaving the psyche shattered and bleeding on the studio floor. No glossy mastering, in fact, no comforting harmonies, churning in time. Just a bone dry repetition of a raw underground rhyme. The mix is narrow and dense. The landscape is factory cold. The heaviest mental friction that the cassette ever had to hold. Vinyl dust piled thick on the edge of the aluminum turntable platter deck. As I stand precariously on the brink of a dangerous, crumbling psychological ledge. They give you superficial advice online, telling you to just breathe and smile, while the weight of the dark thoughts is packing up into a massive burning pile. A simple root note bassline rumbles low beneath the muffled horn chop loop, isolating my perspective entirely from the cheerful conversations of the social group. No dramatic thirst to scoring or artificial tension rises built into the track. Just a naked presentation of a panic attack that refuses to scale back. I turn the volume dials manually, letting the analog sampler distortion run hot. Trapped inside a claustrophobic mental state, right in the center slot. The arrangement stays aggressively sparse, leaving no room for a soft melodic break, exposing every single painful tremor that the chronic internal stresses make. We hide away from the bright city lights, locking down the laboratory workspace tight, struggling to maintain a basic level of survival in the middle of the freezing night. The ink runs dry on the paper sheet, recording the unvarnished psychological toll, leaving a permanent, unerasable scar across the fabric of a weary soul. Anxiety, the overwhelming tension grips the entire cognitive core, leaving the psyche shattered and bleeding on the studio floor. No glossy mastering it back, no comforting harmonies, churning in time. Just a bone dry repetition of a raw underground round. The mix is narrow and dense. The landscape is factory cold. The heaviest mental friction that the cassette ever had to hold. Validating the credentials, passing the ephemeral axis, token down, establishing an undisputed perimeter across the gray industrial town. A 91 BPM dark rhythmic engine grinding through the cold garage, stripping away your temporary visibility metrics and your cheap mirage. Haunting guitar fragments scratching low against the rusted tape machine, exposing the fragile plastic scaffolding behind your glossy corporate screen. No R&B corporations permitted inside this concrete block space, wiping the administrative authority completely off your presentation face. The kick drum delivers a thick, heavy punch directly in the center lane, insulating our sovereign network from the stress of your recursive pain. Isolated piano loops dripping like cold rain on that unlit pavement street, as we execute the raw multi-syllabic maneuvers right on top of the beat. No cinematic soundtrack swells or artificial digital filters applied here. Just the unadulterated street cipher energy dominating the local sphere. The crisp crack and snare snaps like a breaking lock on the 2 and 4, permanently slamming down the iron barricade on your executive office door. Token, the temporary
groove poses heavily underneath the dusty turntable arm, protecting our subterranean mainframe from any external systemic harm. Chop vinyl samples skipping over the identical 3-second loop path, leaving the copycat market operators to face the unpolished math. They spend their operational funding chasing fleeting social validation peaks, while I am manually rewriting the core code to patch up your memory leaks. No EDM synthesizers or polished radio formatting allowed inside the lab. Just an old hardware sampler grabbing the raw audio with the clinical stab. We don't provide a public dashboard or broadcast our internal location coordinates, severing the communication lines with your submissive boardroom subordinates. And our love saturation runs hot, coloring the master output channel with gold rust, grinding down the hollow claims of the lookers into fine carbonaceous dust. The arrangements stay stripped entirely to the bone, layout bare and severe, ensuring that the pure integrity of the culture remains unmistakably clear. The ledger book is signed with the heavy imprint of non-negotiable artistic pride, watching the synthetic empires crumble with the turning of the midnight tide. Token, the temporary authorization string is second and expired, leaving the corrupt network analysts confused and tired. No pop melody, no stuttering track drums allowed to contaminate. Just a raw, repetitive allure slam shut at the entrance gate. Don't make the mixes aggressively compressed. The blueprint is factory code. The hardest survival narrated that the underground ever told. That the underground. That the underground. That the underground never told. Setting up the decoy, server baiting with the fake credential file, watching the intruder scramble through the digital waste pile. The 90 BPM needle drops heavily on the dusty piece of wax, bypassing the standard templates that the modern platform lacks. Minimal funk elements chopped into a tiny rhythmic cell, casting a hypnotic underground sonic tracking spell. No expensive mastering plugins or synthetic spatial gloss, just calculating the absolute distance between profit and loss. The kick drum is a solid lead block, hitting dead in the center track, leaving the amateur spy with zero leverage to execute an attack. It remind like key loops, whispering secrets inside a narrow room, sealing the destination of the corporate intruder, the absolute dome. We don't provide the real ledger, just a simulation view, separating the malicious actors from the loyal independent crew. A dry crisp snare cracking sharply through the laboratory dust, turning your elaborate boardroom espionage plans into gray rust. Honeypot, the fabricated target deceives the outside spy, watching the ambitious infiltrators' weapons wither and die. No glossy echo chambers, no stuttering synthetic drum scheme, just a raw sampler dust feeding the underground streams. The arrangement is bone dry, the position is mentally strong, proving the replicant analysts entirely and critically wrong. Copper filaments heating up behind the vintage mixing board frame, refusing to participate in the industry's collaborative marketing game. They record their streaming telemetry and flatten their fraudulent scores, while I am manually latching the deadbolts on the basement door. A simple root note bass lines slithering low underneath the vinyl crack, guiding the independent vessel along a completely unmapped track. No orchestral string sections or cinematic rising tones applied, just the unvarnished territory where the authentic artists reside. The stereo field stays narrow, keeping the punch concentrated tight, defending the sovereignty of the laboratory in the freezing night. I adjust the input faders manually, controlling the analog saturation bleed, providing exactly what the pavement requires, not what the executives need. We log the incoming packet signatures inside a hidden offline directory book, ignoring the bait of the radio station and the commercial pop hook. Every single line is etched into stone with permanent architectural skill, unshaken by the turning of the digital landscape or the winter chill. Honeypot of agitated target deceive the outside spy, watching the ambitious infiltrators weapons with the end eye. No glossy echo chambers, no stuttering synthetic drum schemes, just a raw sampler dust feeding the underground stream. The arrangement is bone dry, the position is immensely strong, proving the replicant analysts entirely and critically wrong. Beat drop. Yeah. Beat drop. Yo. Measuring the propagation delay, calculating a precise latency gap, drawing an unmapped boundary line directly across the local map. Yeah, the SP12 under DAC chips are clipping, running down the sample sound, planting an uncorrupted anchor deep into the shifting ground. Yeah, filtered funk chords rotating slowly on the vintage that rough drive deck, breaking the speculator stranglehold over creative neck. Yeah, no industry consultants or marketing teams permitted past the gate, forcing the high-speed artificial network to stall out and wait. Yeah, loose heads riding off the grid with a lazy natural human lean, purging the algorithmic contamination from my tape machine. Tape saturation melting the highs on the analog master track, laying down the structural ironwork without a single crack. Warm bass notes thumping steady, holding the fundamental tone, erecting a solitary watchtower made of solid granite stones. Yeah, 16 bars of unfiltered, uncompromised, independent design, forcing the bloated commercial enterprise to drop off the line. Y'all got latency, holding back the package to the signal as they play, dismantling the hollow illusions that the system prepared. No track drums, no polished pops, riding on the air. Just a raw SP1200 swing, slam down bare. The groove is hypnotic, the arrangement is absolutely cold. The genuine underground legacy that never can be sold. Yeah, a deep root, no baseline, slithering under the chop loop phrase, dissolving the fragile metrics of the contemporary viral craze. I route the output channels directly into the old analog board, severing the ties of the copycats with a single tracking word. Yeah, the snare snaps, bone dry, send the focus to cut through the heavy smoke, exposing the superficial talking points of the corporate folk. They boast about their cloud-based algorithms and artificial reach, while I'm building masonry seawalls along the eroding beach. I avoid the generic industry mixes and the superficial praise, spending my hours mastering the intricacies of the hardware phase. You wanted the cooperative
processor to manipulate and display on screen until you felt the crushing weight of a true standalone machine. The framework is permanent, the foundations are anchored in the deep soil, protecting the raw artistic substance of our independent toil. I bite down on the wire, letting the internal tape hiss run free, documenting the hardest reality that the network will ever see.
Latency.
Holding back a package till the signal is declared, dismantling the hollow illusions that the system prepared. No track drums, no polished pops riding on the air, just a raw SB1200 swing, slam down bare. The groove is hypnotic, the arrangement is absolutely cold. The genuine underground legacy that never can be sold. Regulating the intake stream, creating a temporary storage buffer zone. Managing the heavy influx of data packets completely on my own. The SP1200 drum machine spits a gritty low fidelity crunch, absorbing the impact of the industry's desperate uncoordinated punch. A psychedelic funk loop repeats its dusty, hypnotizing minor key phrase, guiding the listener safely through the murky smoke-filled studio haze. Loose hi-hats lighting off the grit with the natural humanized swing, neutralizing the tracking sensors that the administrative agencies bring. The kick drum lands like a heavy block of concrete drop from the roof, providing an unshakable foundation of raw, non-negotiable sonic proof. Deep warm bass lines crawling steady across the ancient floorboards low, dictating the deliberate, unhurried pace at which the syllables flow. We hold the excess information in a secure, isolated queue, filtering out the synthetic trash to keep the final output true. A sparse arrangement that leaves plenty of room for the track to breathe, while the lookers on the perimeter watch the analog machine see. Buffer, holding the pressure steady in the oversized cache, protecting the genuine marrow of the art from the system crash. No serendipity effects, no wire elements added to the scheme. Just a dusty repetition of the independent baseling stream. The SP1200 groove is hypnotic, unpolished and factory clean, maintaining the balance inside the sovereign vintage machine. Texturation bleeding heavy across the master aluminum reel tracks, stripping the glossy veneer directly off the administrative hacks. I patch the audio cords manually into the back of the mixing console board, slicing through the superficial noise with the double-edged tracking word. They brag about their digital validation and temporary chart positions online, while I am busy fortifying the interior architecture of this design of mine. No trap percussion elements or high-pitched synthetic sounds allowed. Just a raw underground mix designed to alienate the commercial crowd. The sharp snare cuts through the thick vinyl dust like a butcher knife, documenting the unvarnished realities of this independent artistic life. We isolate the transmission
channels, slowing down the operational rate. Forcing the greedy platform aggregators to stand outside the door and wait. Every bar is laid flat on the pavement with structural masonry precision. The undeniable physical manifestation of an uncompromising artistic vision. The ink dries slow on the notepad, sealing the raw data points in place, leaving the permanent underrazable mark across the local laboratory space. Buffer! Holding the pressure steady in the oversized cash, protecting the genuine marrow of the art from the system crash. No prior elements added to the scheme. Just the dusty repetition of the independent baseline stream. The ASP 12 on the groove is hat knotted, unpolished and factory clean. Maintaining the balance inside the sovereign vintage machine.
Yeah. No. Encrypted lines of text moving across the dark glass screen. The coldest arrangement that the asphalt has ever seen. A 90 BPM pulse grinding through the old hardware belt, delivering the heavy impact that the industry has never felt. Shop soul textures buried deep inside the low-end mud, leaving the corporate executive stranded in a toxic flood. No synthesized pads or modern pop radio appeal, just an uncompromising slab of raw industrial steel. The kick breaks bones when it drops in the execs and the slot, keeping the atmosphere freezing while the mixer stays hot. The subtle minor loop rolling on a 3-second spin before the multi-syllabic verbal exercises begin. Dusty platter needles picking up the stray fabric lint, leaving a permanent unerasable charcoal print. The snare cracks dry like a gunshot down a narrow block, perfectly aligned with the eternal master hardware clock. Cypher! The scramble text protects the underground core, laying down the stone platforms for the cassette deck war. No glossy reverb coating, no delta rescoring in sight, just a repetitive texture in the coldness of the night. The mix is bone dry, the stereo image is tight and narrow, scraping the synthetic static directly out of the marrow. Yeah. Vinyl dust collecting on the pitch slider control rail as we document the raw realities of a street level tale. Sparse arrangements keeping the landscape completely bare, leaving no room for the fraudulent mainstream to stare. They check their social metrics and their digital footprint size, while I am building fortresses away from their prying eyes. No trap hi-hat patterns allowed to stutter or trip, just a continuous unyielding analog iron grip. Manual patch cables feeding through the input channel jack, ensuring that the natural warmth of the tape never goes flat. We don't need a massive team or a public relations firm to make the local algorithmic copycats turn and squirm. The loop stays hypnotic, repeating the same identical bars, rattling the windows of the underground subway cars. An undeniable documentation of pure unpolished grit, watching the entire outer framework of the industry split. Cypher! The scramble text protects the underground core, laying down a stone platform for the cassette deck war. No glossy reverb coating, no doctory scoring in sight, just a repetitive texture in the coldness of the night. The mix is bone dry, the stereo image is tight and narrow, scraping the synthetic static directly out of the marrow. Posing the shield, acting as the intermediate proxy node. Rerouting the incoming packets down a hidden unmapped road. The SB1200 crunch gives the drums a gritty 12-bit bite. Shrouding the source identity completely. In the dead of night. Filter, guitar licks and dusty funk loops chop up on the pads. Exposing the commercial trends in the temporary industry fads. Loose hi-hats drifting with that natural, unquantized human swing. Deflecting the administrative tracking lines you try to bring. The kick is a blunt thud, hitting square against the concrete wall. Ensuring the underlying foundations of this setup never fall. Deep warm bass lines hum along the simple root note track, while the crackle of old vinyl keeps the vibe spinning back. We don't transmit the original IP, masking the structural base, harassing the digital fingerprints from the regional broadcast space. A raw underground arrangement completely stripped of pop appeal, forging a protective perimeter out of cold, unyielding steel. Proxy, intercepting the traffic before it touches the core, shielding the inner sanctum in this unrelenting war. No track, no scoring, no trap drums in sight. Just a psychedelic groove in the middle of the night. The analo texture loop, not it completely raw. The independent protocol without a single system flaw. Yeah, relaying the request but keeping the primary server clean. Standing as an iron barrier between the user and the machine. Tape saturation bleeding heavy onto the master stereo channel reel, capturing the gritty in the long resonance that the digital clones can't feel. They broadcast their telemetry, selling the metrics to the highest bid, while I completely bury the blueprints of everything the ancestors did. No cinematic transitions, no cheap tension building, rising sound. Just pictures the hypnotic West Coast groove rumbling deep underground. The snare snaps sharply, setting the focus like a starter pistol shot, boiling the low frequencies until the mixing board is burning hot. I isolate the routing tables, dropping the connection at the gate, leaving the corporate spies to guess and stand outside the way. The arrangement stay sparse, letting the baseline loops breathe, while the lookers on the perimeter watch the system churn and seethe, woven tightly into the fabric of this dusty 90s cassette deck tape, providing the ultimate architectural blueprint for a clean escape. Proxy, intercepting the traffic before it touches the core. Shielding the inner sanctum in this unrelenting war. No trap, no scoring, no trap drones in sight. Just a psychedelic groove in the middle of the night. We getting hollow texture loop, hypnotic and completely raw. Independent protocol without a single system flaw. Living it right down when the broad witches.
Yeah.
Yo. Etching the instructions deep inside the silicone wafer sheet, permanently baking down the code into the concrete street. This is the primary instruction set, non-volatile memory, erasing every single trace of your commercialized longevity. Dusty double bass loops rattling the rusty iron cage, a calculated tactical script written across a yellow parchment page. No glossy artificial weaver coating on the vocal track, just a direct electrical current bouncing off the lack of plaque. The snare cracks like a dry twig snapping in the winter freeze, disabling your secondary protocols with casual clinical ease. They chasing cloud storage allocations and external third-party drives, while I'm hardwiring the offline terminal where the core essence survives. Read-only architecture completely unalterable by the flash, watching your entire volatile cloud-based inventory turn to ash. Pure mechanical momentum feeding straight through the copper twine, securing the absolute, unyielding foundation of the master design. Hardwired deep into the circuits of the soul, regaining total reign and independent state control. No compromise, no floating data permitted to drift, just the constant pressure of the analog saturation shift. The system operates without an external override code. It's stable, it's stable and secure beneath the heaviest execution load. Flashing the ROM chips with an iron-fisted microcode, watching how the superficial industry lookers hit a dead-end road. I dismantle the peripheral components piece by piece, ensuring that the raw mechanical vibrations of the machine never cease. A low-frequency hum vibrating directly through the studio floorboards, severing the umbilical connection cables of the corporate overlords. They focus on the distribution metrics in the short-term streaming clouds, while I am designing hardware circuits to filter the synthetic static out. The grease on the fader rails, heavy dust inside the cooling fan, executing a flawless, completely isolated survival plan. No temporary cache files allowed, no volatile storage space, just an indelible permanent impression left upon the structural base. The swing on the drum sampler is locked into an honest swinging groove, giving the corporate copycats absolutely zero leverage or room to move. Cold solder joints holding the layout perfectly intact, the definitive documentation of a non-negotiable underground fact. Hardwired deep into the circuits of the soul, regaining total reign and independent state control. No compromise, no floating data permitted to drift, just the constant pressure of the analog saturation shift. The system operates without an external override code, stable and secure beneath the heaviest execution load. Execution load. Forcing the defensive perimeter, confirming the tactical breach, pushing the operational mechanics completely out of your administrative reach. The 91 BPM breakbeat hits violently with a dusty compressed street cipher crack, cutting off the utility anchor lines completely with zero intention of ever heading back. Haunting piano fragments looping endlessly across the cold concrete floor layout, masking the operational visibility footprints of my independent destination payout. No glossy production chains allowed inside the sanctuary of this workspace lane, completely insulated from the heavy velocity of your recursive administrative pain. The kick drum is a thick, heavy thud, rattling the metal reinforcement bars tight, maintaining the clinical tactical dominance in the dead center of the freezing night. I run the system diagnostics manually, verifying that the vault gates are secure, forcing the unadulterated spirit of the underground movement to remain pure. The snare is a cracking whip, hitting sharp right on the 2 and 4 counts, liquidating your remaining corporate value in highly concentrated amounts. No trap percussion elements allowed inside the perimeter, no modern synthwave slick, just the raw compression processing in perfect sync with the hardware sampler click. Break. The external walls crumble from the rainfall's impact strike, shutting down every parameter that the simulation can likely lie. No glossy mastering, no hooks to cushion the audio blow. Just running where the independent frequencies go. The arrangement is stripped, the matrix is factory code. The hardest survival architecture that was explicitly told. The gritty bass groove is pulsing steady, maintaining the forward mechanical pace. Permanently purging your visibility metrics completely from the local database. I patch the audio connections manually, keeping the raw, authentic hardware alive, ensuring the unvarnished spirit of the classic era can safely, permanently revive. They talking about public asset distribution, tracking the temporary streaming chart, while my weaponized penetration tests and dismantles the foundation of their corporate art. Every single stone you threw at my fortress is sitting hard inside my stone vault. And the complete collapse of your infrastructure is exclusively your own fault. I don't offer the explanations, don't show up to the collaborative public performance show. The hard reset worked perfectly, letting the leverage of the independent operation grow. The masonry columns of solid rebar stone reinforced to withstand the impact of rain, erasing the final remaining entries of your uninspired professional boardroom chain. I mute the notifications, shutting down the access tokens on the duplicate mobile screen, operating flawlessly like a cold-blooded clinical industrial survival machine. The ink is drying slow across the white pages of the yellow legal notepad sheet, establishing a permanent independent boundary line that your system can never defeat. The external walls crumble from the rainforest impact, straight shutting down every parameter that the simulation can likely lie. No glossy mastering, no hooks to cushion the eye of blow. Just a gritty alloy running where the independent frequencies go. Arrangement is strict, the matrix is factory code. The hardest survival architecture that was explicitly told. Yeah. Yeah. Triggering the safety mechanism, deploying the manual kill switch command. Instantly dropping a permanent curtain across your fraudulent tracking land. The 90 BPM drum break hits heavy with a dust-covered vintage boom bap swing, isolating the primary frequencies from every historical liability you tried to bring. Minimal chop soul samples looping tightly inside an eerie minor key lane. Systematically cutting the communication conduits to your recursive campaign. Yeah. No modern synth veneer permitted inside this highly restricted laboratory space, vaporizing the final remaining credentials of your manipulative corporate face. The kick drum is a thick punctuate, knocking hard right in the center pocket, locking down the undivided asset value inside an unbreakable titanium vault socket. I low past the frequency spectrum, letting the simple root note baseline cross low. Watching how the uninspired copycats perform their highly predictable theater of the show. Multi-syllabic underground mechanics running the diagnostic check across the black grid, wiping the entire tracking directory of every single thing we ever cooperatively did. The snare is a crisp and the pan snap, cracking directly on the 2 and 4 counts, evacuating the premium clearance codes from your duplicate administrative accounts. Kill switch, emergency disconnect, severs every single line, terminating the anomalies inside this sovereign space of mine. No glossy reverb, no hooks to cushion the blunt force strike. Yeah, just a gritty sampler, alloy that the simulation can never lie. The repetition is not it. The active state was factory code. The hardest survival
configuration that was explicitly told.
The vinyl dust is settling heavily across the metal fader channel mixing strip. Watching the final lines of your superficial influence completely, rapidly slip. Sparse instrumentation, just an eerie minimal chop in the driving bass line, no group. The definitive historical closure of the independent tactical execution boot. They checking the broadcast analytics index, chasing the latest visibility chart, while I am quietly protecting the raw, unadulterated essence of the underground art. No trap hi-hat stuttering here, no artificial cinematic soundtrack arrangement scoring. Just the relentless momentum of a standalone machine that keeps on aggressively roaring. I patch the audio connections manually, keeping the classic mid-90s saturation tape hits, refusing to let my primary development layout slide into your corporate formatting abyss. The mix is bone dry, exposing every single operational variable that the parasites fear. Managing the security of my sanctuary flawlessly, far away from your peripheral sphere. Every single calorie spent on your espionage backfired heavily on your own crown. Watching the cardboard networks of the lookers officially heavily tumble down. The configuration is permanent, the masonry columns are solid rebar reinforced hard, dominating the empty coordinates of the pavement securely on the perimeter guard. Kill switch, the emergency disconnect severs every single line, terminating the anomalies inside this sovereign space of mine. No glossy reverb, no hooks to cushion the blunt force stride. Just a gritty sampler alloy that the simulation can never lie. The repetition is not it, the atmosphere is factory code. The hardest survival configuration that was explicitly told. This switch that was explicitly told. This switch.